name is Sergio Andre. I'm a volunteer with Limerick Suicide Watch. I'm only living 5 minutes from here, so I kind of seen the helicopter out most weeks looking for people, and I just said maybe I can join and try and do something.
Go over here and check again in the corner.
And we'll check the steps.
I've decided to become a volunteer because I wanted to give back to the community, and I saw that in my local community where I'm from, the country, there had been a number of suicides, so I just wanted to give back and try and help.
I joined Limerick Suicide Watch 2.5 years ago. I joined because I used to see the volunteers out on the river at night doing the patrols. I have young children myself. They're involved with water sports and I'm quite often around the river myself, so I've seen them quite a lot. I admired what they were doing and I could see the need for why they were doing it. For that reason I became a volunteer.
The public in general are so generous. Everything is donated. We receive nothing from the government. Everything's just through charity, through events and events that people do for us, etc., etc.
We have 3 patrols out a night, 2 foot patrols and a bike patrol, and we do a figure of 8 over the 4 bridges of Limerick. And we patrol with radios and we're in contact with each other all the time to try and come across somebody that's in distress.
When we're on patrol, we're constantly watching the rivers, the river on both sides. We're looking for, there are obvious places where a lot of people would have taken their life previously, and we watch all those places. But we always say hello to people, see how they're feeling, see what their reactions are, and their reaction then quite often can generate a conversation with ourselves and themselves, and we can see from that then where they are, if they're in a good position or bad. And we've been quite successful with what we've been doing over the years. But it's every night is different.
The third pole here on the right.
Yeah.
Over here, yeah, over there.
Walking?
No, walking towards it there, the pole.
Yeah. One person here.
Yeah.
And we're all clear down here.
We patrol the 4 bridges, down as far as the Clayton Hotel, back as far as King John's Castle, over Tungman Bridge, behind the courthouse, over Clancy Strand or Callahan Strand. It's basically a route that we do every night. It's a designated route with our foot patrol. So we've also got bikes that will do the routes behind the courthouse and the far over routes up by Grove Island and along the canal bank.
Want to choose death by suicide. We've come across young males, young females, all ages, male, both female. Why they want to do it, I don't really know. Sometimes it's drugs, sometimes it's drink, other times it's boyfriend or girlfriend problems. It can be any one of a number of reasons from what I can see. My training is ASSIST, which is it's an advanced suicide intervention techniques. I don't have any experience medically or in the medical field with regard to suicide or anything like that. Why people want to do it, I don't know. Genuinely don't know.
You can't really say there is one reason. There's a number of reasons, and everybody's reason is different. And there's mental issues there as well. And yeah, I couldn't really say why.
There's so many different reasons you can't pinpoint anything. It could be relationships, it could be financial, it could be anything. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs. Just don't know.
For the most part, when we're out on patrol, it's quite sociable with the members that are there. We have a lot of members in the group, so we're rarely out with the same members night after night, so it's quite sociable. But when there are interventions, it can be quite difficult and be quite emotional also. But when you come across someone that you know that you're there at that point and you get them away from the river and send them home, but you feel in your heart and soul that they're going to be back the next day or at some stage in the future, that's quite difficult, because we don't treat people for mental illness or anything like that. We help them when we come across them, and we try to move them away from the river, get them into a better place. But it's quite difficult when you meet that person again, which quite often happens. On the other side of it, if we meet someone that has found themselves beside the river and nobody knows how they're feeling, and we invite family members in to bring them home, that can be quite rewarding in that we've opened up someone's problem to their family and they can get help from that. That's a good feeling, that you've met someone, they have a problem, and they've shared the problem, you've listened and you've involved other people. That's a good feeling. But the difficult part is when you meet someone night after night, and you know they're not getting the help that they need. That's quite difficult.
A 5-minute intervention, and it's very intense because you're physically pulling someone out of the water, you're pulling them off the wall, you're knocking them to the floor to save their lives. That can be very, very physical. You might be sore for a couple of days after it. So, and then the mental issues, listening to people with their problems, we hear everything. And I suppose then we do have a backup system. We all look after each other within the group. There's 60 of us. We all talk if we've had an intervention, and we have psychologists that help us if we've had a bad intervention.
And the most difficult part is the interventions. If you come across someone at the river, because they may not have spoken to someone in weeks, and it can be emotional, it can be very hard. It's very rewarding too when you get that person away from the river, and you might hear in time that they're okay and they've gotten help. But it is emotionally draining sometimes. But we have support from our members, and we have support from counsellors as well if we need to look after ourselves post-intervention.
Well, we don't necessarily tell them anything. We try and engage in conversation. And again, as I say, we're all assisted trained, which helps us talk to people that are in distress. We don't necessarily tell them anything. We listen to them. We don't disagree with them, and we don't agree with them necessarily. But we engage in conversation, and we try and point out reasons why they should leave, reasons why they should concentrate on family members or what's good in their life. And we try, and it takes us a while to get that. Sometimes it could be an hour conversation before someone admits they're suicidal, but that conversation has its ups and its downs, its highs and its lows, but we rarely dictate what people should do. We listen to them, and as I said, there's very little that can shock us. We've heard it all, we've heard a lot, no doubt, but we listen. We don't tell them what to do or dictate.
We don't tell them anything. We listen to them, we talk to them, and we basically just listen. And what we do is, if they're very distressed, we will have to call the ambulance or the guards for help, and then they take over. But what we do is, sometimes we can bring down a family member or a friend, and they mightn't even know that their friends or family member is in trouble, and we move forward. They move forward from there, basically.
Limerick Suicide Watch has been very successful over the years with reducing the number of people going into the river. At the moment we're out 4 nights a week, And we'd like to be out 7 nights a week. And we'd like to reach a stage where we have no interventions, where we go out and we're there and available to people. Excuse me. But if we're not needed, better again, you know. Unfortunately, there is a need for us at the moment, and I think that need is always going to be there.
We'll always be here for the people of Limerick and beyond. That we'll always have foot patrols out. We have 4 foot patrols out. We hopefully at some time we'll get 7 patrols out. And we will always be there for people that are in distress. It would be great to think that we will never have people with mental issues, but that'll probably never happen. And we're out there going to schools, doing talks to try and help and let people know it's good to talk.
The hopes and aspirations in the future, myself personally, would be that people would communicate a bit more and, you know, get the message out that it's okay not to be okay, and a simple hello could help someone feel a bit better in themselves.
So I shine up all my favorite pairs of shoes.